plot of Whiteacre. Beatrice Lacey is a catty, manipulative bitch who freaks out whenever anything doesn't go her way and is totally not above using her sexual wiles and the powers of hell to get things to go her way. Beatrice is 15 and screwing Ralph the gamekeeper, who's a gypsy. She can't have the estate when her father dies, so Ralph concocts an awesome plan to kill her father! Cause it makes sense. He goes through with it, she decides, OMG, this is unforgivable, and sticks Ralph in a bear trap which cuts off his legs. He runs away. Now she has to find someone else to sleep with, so she picks her brother! Her fucking brother! At least Kathy Earnshaw didn't sleep with her brother. It's even up for debate whether Kathy and Heathcliff slept with each other. You can read into the text that they did, you can also read that they didn't. Totally up for grabs. I kinda like it that way. It's more interesting. She picks her brother, this blonde Adonis. You're hot, let's bone! And he's like, okay, let's do it. Cause I have this weird submission fetish taught to me at those good old British boarding schools. Except he has to get married. He picks the neighboring girl, this young, blonde, innocent thing. So virginal and so afraid, but, you know, he's such a good guy, he's so handsome, he'll take care of her. Beatrice then concocts this elaborate scheme so that she and her brother can keep boning. His new wife won't think anything is wrong. She has 2 kids, both of whom are her brothers, one of whom she passes off as her brothers with his new wife, another of whom she is pregnant with and unmarried, and her brother's wife won't accept it again, so what does she do? She gets married! Passes it off as this guy's. John McAndrew, this Scottish doctor. Her eyes have gotten dark with desire so many times at this point I can't even keep count. Because he's like the only one in this entire cast with a brain! He, of course, cops to her bull and her evil manipulative ways, figures out that the kids are hers and her brother Harry's, and, you know, freaks out, as a normal person does, when he finds out that his wife has been engaging in active, happy incest for years on end with products of the loins that are gonna be so fucked up in the head. He gets out. Out of nowhere, these mysterious rumors are cropping up. This guy, this gypsy guy, who can ride a horse though his legs are cut off. OMG, could it be Ralph? Remember Ralph? Yeah, he's back. Ooh, vengeful gypsy returning. It's not like Heathcliff at all, is it? No! No! Of course it's not like Heathcliff, only except it's exactly like Heathcliff! Beatrice is nuts. The servants have all fled. She's like alone in this house. She has a wet dream about Ralph. Then he shows up. It's raining outside because, you know, it's always gotta be fucking raining. She runs out to meet him and he kills her, and that's the end. That's the end. You see where I'm coming from? This was the book that made her name, and it's not even fucking original! She is such a hack! After Kathy dies, you know how, like, nobody remembers, except the people who actually like the book, that Wuthering Heights continues? The second half of the book is the whole second generation of the Heathcliffs, the Earnshaws, and the Lintons, and how it all comes full circle to fuck Heathcliff over, because he deserved it. Whiteacre has sequels dealing with the following generations. Ah! This woman doesn't have an original thought in her brain! Also, when the book starts, it paints Beatrice as, like, an interesting character. Like, you're willing to go for it. And halfway through the book, you realize she's doing some fucked up shit. For instance, making her brother's wife raise as her own the product of her brother's incest with his sister. And you start realizing, this woman is psycho. This woman is nuts. This woman is so unstable and unhealthy. Why should we root for her? I was like, Team John McAndrew all the way. Get out of there. Go. Leave. Run while you can. You can say a lot about Kathy and Heathcliff. A lot of it uncomplimentary. But at least you felt for them. Even if you don't like them, even if you can't stand them, there is enough humanity in them to keep you invested. You cannot say that about Beatrice Lacey. She is just fucked in the head. And everywhere else. You don't need to read Whiteacre to understand what I'm talking about. You just need to read Wuthering Heights and trust me that it's exactly the same, only 1,000 times better. Because Bronte was a writer. Bronte had ideas. Bronte was dynamic. Bronte knew what she was doing. And Bronte was doing something new. Which is why we still read Wuthering Heights, which is why Wuthering Heights is fantastic, which is why Wuthering Heights has lodged itself in our cultural consciousness for hundreds of years. It's just that good. It's just that original, that clever, that frightening. It elicits an emotional reaction that lasts. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't think people became writers to rape the creations of their betters. I hate using that word betters, but it's just true. Pick up any Philippa Gregory book in a bookstore. Hell, go on Amazon, read the previews. You'll know what I'm talking about. The only person I can state without irony that Philippa Gregory is better than is Stephanie Meyer, okay? R.L. Stein might be better than Philippa Gregory. Of course, part of this rant comes from her massive popularity. It's stratospheric. The bitch is everywhere. She wrote the back blurb for Anya Seton's Catherine, which is an extraordinary historical fiction novel that predates hers by decades, incredibly better in quality, in thought, in research. But there she is on the back of it, talking about how seminal a work it is, which of course it is, and how it inspired her, which is like, no! If I was Anya Seton, I'd be like, back off, bitch! Don't claim my book as an inspiration to you, because my book could pwn yours! But no, her name sells books. People get their history from her books. There is a contract between readers and writers of historical fiction. The writer promises to tell a good story that is also accurate. The reader promises to invest deeply enough to believe every part of that story. There are writers that uphold that contract. Tracy Chevalier, Sharon K. Penman, Mary Reynolds, Bernard Cornwell. These guys know what they're doing. They know how to elicit story from history and vice versa. They know how to throw in good details. They know how to make you believe you are there. You are experiencing that time, that place, those people. That's why I love them. That's why I read them. That's why I will buy anything they wrote ever. Philippa Gregory dances on that contract. She dances it into the dust, she kicks it up into pieces, and then she laughs. Because she's making money off stupid people who can't be bothered to do a bit of research on Wikipedia and find out that every single fact in her books is wrong. She even buys into the mythos that she's actually a historian, which, ha! Amateur is the kindest word to be used to describe me as a Tudor historian. If I can find out scads of things that are wrong in her books, what the fuck is she pretending to be? Out of all the historical fiction out there, out of all the fiction out there, out of every book ever written that they could read, they think hers are the best. My mind boggles at the idea of trying to pick a best writer ever. But there are some writers that are clearly better than others. There is, while not a definite hierarchy, there are strata of writerly talent. And everyone will put different people on different levels. I understand that. But the people who would put her writing on one of the highest levels, as people do, it makes me so sad, you guys. It makes me so sad. And not that they don't have the right to like what they like and read what they want to read. Of course they do. The thought of the writers out there who are so good and so underappreciated and so underread, and everyone keeps exalting her and perpetuating the myth that she knows what she's doing, when there are so many writers who do know what they're doing. Like, they really know what they're doing. They can't get read because she dominates the bookshelves, she dominates the conversation, she dominates the period. I'm not talking about the people who copy her, who design their book covers to be copies of the other Boleyn Girl book cover, because I'm done with that. I'm so done with that. I'm talking about the writers, the historical fiction writers, the ones who do the work, who really just bust their ass telling a good story with good history that can't get read because she is all over the place. God, it just makes me so sad. I'm repeating myself. This is where I get really ranty and deviate from the script. I actually do have a script for this. But that's the worst. That is at the core of why I can't stand her. Because she distracts from so many other more talented writers. I would be so happy for her if she were good and having this much success, because if she were good, she would deserve it. She is not good. She does not deserve it. So there is my vlogged rant. Get the rest of your vlogs up. I want to see you. Especially you, Cheryl. You've been gone for ages.